All right, guys. So after a week of speculation regarding whether or not the cancellation of flights by Southwest Airlines came from vax mandate protests by pilots who are currently suing the company over the mandate, or weather anomalies that somehow was only stopping Southwest from flying their planes and only causing them issues. We now have Delta Airlines, right? Woke Delta Airlines, right? The same company that essentially protested Georgia's voting law, right, a few months ago. They've come out and basically said, hey, you know what? These vaccine mandates are divisive, so therefore we're not going to enforce it. Now, again, I find this to be a fascinating turn of events, as it seems that workers in this country actually really are the ones with the power. And I also find it strange how there's some people who claim to be pro-union and pro-worker who've been quiet this whole time. But before we get in that, I got to give my disclaimer here because we're talking about, the vaccine. I'm not making any claims about the vaccine, mask, the virus. I'm not making claims about anything whatsoever. If you have any questions about the vaccine, the mask, the virus, if you have any questions about anything whatsoever, please consult your doctor. Please consult your medical professional. I am simply discussing public policy and public policy only. So without further ado, let's actually roll the clip of the Delta Airlines CEO telling us why he's folding on the vaccine mandate for the company. Take a look.
That leads me, when you talk about what makes things better for the world, you are the last U.S. carrier holding out on the vaccine mandate for your employees. Tell me why.
Well, the reason the mandate was put in by the president, I believe, was because they wanted to make sure companies had a plan to get their employees vaccinated. A month before the president came out with the mandate, we'd already announced our plan to get all of our people vaccinated. And the good news is the plan is working. At Delta today, we are 90% vaccinated, fully vaccinated across our entire company, and more vaccinations are coming in by the day. So I expect by the time we get to November next month, we're going to be at the 95% threshold. And when you consider there's going to be religious and some medical accommodations made that we're going to need to consider, by the time we're done, we'll be pretty close to fully vaccinated as a company without going through all the divisiveness of a mandate. We're proving that you can work collaboratively with your people, trusting your people to make the right decisions, respecting their decisions, and not, forcing them over the loss of their jobs.
Ed, I appreciate you coming on and talking about so many issues here. Thank you very much. And we'd love to have you back in the fourth quarter.
Of course. Great to be with you, Liz.
Anytime. Ed Bastian, CEO of Delta Airlines.
All right, guys. So Delta, unlike their competitors, has actually taken an interesting strategy in which they never really had a mandate in the first place. It was just you either have to undergo weekly testing or you have to get the vaccine, right? And if you choose not to get the vaccine, then you have to, I believe, wear a mask, and there's a $200 increase in their insurance premium, right? Which, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I don't know if you can necessarily be mad about that, right? I'm not sure how mad you could be about that. But what has happened is that Delta has actually seen a lot of their employees, a vast majority of them, vaccinated because they took a, hey, I'm going to encourage you to do it, but I'm not going to mandate you to do it approach, right? And ain't it funny how Delta Airlines has such high numbers, such high vaccination rates, despite not necessarily having a mandate? Ain't it funny how when you just encourage people, but you don't mandate, you don't pressure people to do it, how they just be like, yeah, you know what, might as well, right? Ain't it funny how that works? Crazy strategy. Apparently, you can be pro-vax and anti-mandate while not being an anti-vaxxer, but you wouldn't know that if you listen to the left-wing mainstream media. And for Delta, this common sense, no pressure strategy has helped them avoid putting themselves in a situation like Southwest, in which, allegedly their pilots and other employees have some issues with the mandate, right? So in my opinion, this CEO coming out and calling the vaccine mandate divisive and kind of bucking Joe Biden and his requirements signals kind of how the airline industry is probably feeling about this whole thing. Right? How a lot of these companies are probably on edge about how these pilots and these employees, if they just choose to stop working, they can essentially disrupt the whole country, right? They could bring the whole country to a stop. And what I find to be even more interesting is that the makers of these planes, right? The makers of these planes, the blue collar workers that actually make these planes, these highly skilled laborers, okay? The people that are often forgot about in this country, they're now protesting against the vaccine mandate as Boeing's employees has started demonstrating against the company. Take a look.
Good evening, Mark. At its peak, I'd say about 300 people lined the sidewalks here outside the Boeing plant, defiantly demanding an end to this mandate. Some entire families saying they would rather lose their jobs than do what the company is telling them to do. The Kennedys are a Boeing family. Bernadette Kennedy has 5 siblings who work for the company, and she stands behind them in their opposition to the vaccine mandate.
This is not the government's place to be enforcing this on anyone.
Emily Kennedy's husband has worked for the company for 11 years. They have a 4-year-old daughter named Flora. Her father's family wage job pays the bills. But Emily says that all comes second to fighting against the vaccine they don't believe in. You'd be willing to support him to lose his job and maybe not have such stability for you and your kid?
I have supported him. I'm supporting him now. I will support him if he loses his job.
Boeing employs 125,000 people, some 57,000 of them across the Puget Sound region. Employees can request a vaccine exemption due to a disability or sincerely held religious belief. The company says anyone granted an exemption will have to undergo frequent testing for COVID-19 and be ready to present a negative test result upon request. But some workers are even wary about that. Boeing is allowing people to get tested every day as opposed to forcing them to get the shot. What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I would be perfectly okay with that. Like I said, how they're going to implement that is another question, and whether they're going to work with us.
Boeing is the latest major company to comply with the Biden administration's vaccine mandate, including Seattle-based Alaska Airlines. Companies risk losing lucrative federal contracts if they don't fall in line. How many of these protesters are actually willing to risk their livelihoods remains to be seen, but the Kennedys, including Emily, Bernadette, and Flora, are not backing down. Do you think Boeing is actually going to bend to this pressure?
If they don't listen to their employees, they're going to lose a lot of really good employees.
I've told him that I'm with him on this. We're not getting it either.
Boeing workers have until December 8th to be vaccinated or lose their jobs. We reached out to the Boeing company today for comment, but we have not heard back. Live in Everett tonight, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
All right, guys. So as you can see there, there's Boeing's employees basically protesting against their mandate. And again, I find this interesting because I think it highlights the fact that a lot of people forget that the people that make this country run, there are a lot of blue collar workers, right? There are a lot of workers that live in more rural areas, okay, that lean more right, okay? They lean more right on a lot of things politically, okay? And these people who are not necessarily in favor of these mandates seem to be exercising their power to potentially bring this country to a standstill, okay? We're not just talking about the people that fly the planes. We're talking about the people that make the planes too, right? That's what we're talking about. That's a crazy amount of power, okay? And they're exercising that power, right, against these big companies, okay? Workers' rights. And you would think that the so-called progressives who claim to be pro-workers' rights, who claim to be pro-unions, you would think that they would say something about this and stand up for these people. Right? But what I find to be fascinating is how literally all progressives, all the so-called progressives have been silent on this issue. They have said nothing about this, right? Ain't that crazy? These people, right, who claim to be pro-union have said nothing about unions of blue-collar workers, middle-class Americans, the people that they claim that they're trying to help. They've said nothing. They've ignored it. And it's not like they've stopped talking about unions and union action, because AOC is actively tweeting about some union protests right now. The John Deere strike, to be exact, right? These workers are striking about their wages, okay? They say they're not being paid enough. And AOC and Nina Turner and Cori Bush, they're right there, right? Captain Save a Union, okay? Captain Save a Union. Captain protest against the white man CEO, right? They'll show up for that when it comes to protesting against Jeff Bezos, right? And the so-called evil CEOs, okay? They love that. But when it comes to all these protests, this union action in regards to these vaccine mandates, for whatever reason, they're silent. AOC's not tweeting about that. Nina Turner's not tweeting about that. Cori Bush's not tweeting about that. But I thought it was Striketober. Striketober coming in hot, according to AOC. I guess not for some folks. Wait, AOC, but I thought you were pro-union. I thought you was for power to the people. But I guess not, right? Just like she said, I think healthcare is a right. It's a human right. You should not be denied healthcare. But she said nothing, and she has not stood up for those people who've been denied healthcare over their vaccination status. Ain't it funny how that works? Miss Pro-Black Cori Bush, right, who claims to be so down for black folks, has said absolutely nothing about the Kyrie Irving situation, right? Or anything in regards to this vaccine mandate and the effects that it's had on black people in regards to employment, right? She said nothing whatsoever. But every time you look, it's Miss Everything is racist, this, that, and the other. The white man is oppressing me. Now, all of a sudden, she is giving cover to the white man, Joe Biden, on his mandate, right? Because, again, a lot of these workers here, they're striking not just about wages, but they're also highlighting mandates as the issue as well. However, again, it's funny how the progressives are not highlighting that. They're not saying that that's a part of it as well. Again, they had nothing to say about the Southwest airline pilots who are currently suing the company, right, over the mandate. They ain't got nothing to do with that. They don't want to chime in on it. No comment. No comment. AOC, who's from New York, she's, for the people of New York City, okay? She has nothing to say when the dictator-in-chief of the state, Miss Hochul, is firing healthcare workers, right? Putting them out on the streets with no unemployment benefits. No unemployment benefits. They're not eligible because they got fired for not taking the vaccine. But AOC is silent on that. She ain't got nothing to say about that. But I thought you was for expanding unemployment forever, right? I thought you was for it. I guess those people that didn't want to comply with the mandate, I guess those people don't deserve unemployment benefits, just like they don't deserve healthcare, okay? Silence is violence. Remember? You said that. Again, I just find it funny how this works, okay? I just find it hilarious when people reveal who they actually are and what they're actually for. What the progressives claim they were against is that they say, oh, we hate Big Pharma, right? We hate it, right? People over profit. But, hey, they ain't saying nothing about Big Pharma now. They ain't saying nothing about it. Real quiet. Oh, we love unions, except unions protesting certain things, certain authoritarian things that we agree with, okay, because they're all about authoritarianism, right? That's what they're really about. Again, I just find this whole situation to be so hilarious, and seeing how the progressives are just dead silent. I couldn't find a video on TYT about this Southwest airline thing. I couldn't find one video about it. I wonder why, right? I wonder why. I can't find any video on TYT about the New York City protests about the mandate. I wonder why. I wonder why they're not saying anything about it. Maybe it's because they've framed anybody that's against the mandate as anti-vax when they're actually not, right? Just because you're against the mandate does not make you anti-vax, okay? Because there's a lot of people who are against the mandate that are vaccinated, that encourage people to get vaccinated, right? Like Delta Airlines, okay? Whose CEO say, listen, I'm encouraging people to get vaccinated, but I'm not forcing it on you, right? But, apparently people like him, according to TYT and all those people, Sink and Anna Kasparian, they're anti-vaxxers. See, again, it's just hilarious to kind of watch this stuff play out in real time and people show you who they actually really are when push comes to shove. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.